Hello, my name is Josh Hovde, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the year 1992, and more specifically the month of August when I was born. So I'll start you off with just some of the averages from that year, what things cost, the cost of living. So to start, the cost of a new house was about $122,000, which today doesn't sound so bad. The average income per person that year was about 30,000, which is a little bit lower than what today's average is. If you were looking to rent an apartment, you were going to spend about $500 a month on a two-bedroom apartment. The cost of a gallon of gas was about $1.04, which, especially after this last month, sounds amazing. The average cost of a new car was about $16,000, which is about $8,000 lower than the average today. And more importantly, a pound of bacon only cost about $1.50. So that's substantially more expensive nowadays. So a few other just general events that happened throughout the year. First, they had the first ever nicotine patch was released to the public, which pretty substantial invention. Probably saved thousands of people's lives, helping them quit smoking. Pretty nice improvement. John Gotti, who was a famous mob boss, he had escaped FBI prosecution for about a decade, known as Teflon Don, just a bad dude, was finally caught and was finally sentenced to life in prison. In January, the Space Shuttle Endeavour made its maiden voyage. It was carrying astronauts to the space station, and they completed the first ever spacewalk with 3 astronauts in space all at the same time, which at the time was pretty impressive. February 8th, the Olympics opened in Albatula, France. Again, pretty famously, a U.S. figure skater named Kristi Yamaguchi won a gold medal in figure skating. She's one of the more famous figure skaters in U.S. history. A couple months later, the Summer Olympics opened in Barcelona, Spain. So that was kind of a weird time when they had the Summer and the Winter Olympics in the same year. Something else that was pretty important to me growing up, at least when I was younger, on October 1st, Cartoon Network was founded. And I grew up watching a lot of those shows. I'm sure a lot of people watching this video did too. Still on air today, even though it's not how it used to be. November 3rd, Bill Clinton won the presidency over George H.W. Bush and Ross Perot. Not even a month later, George H.W. Bush, the sitting president until the end of that year, signed NAFTA, which has become a pretty big hot-button issue currently with the current administration. A little bit on pop culture that year. The most popular films released were Aladdin by Disney, Wayne's World, which has a pretty big cult following, Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg, and again, Home Alone 2, which has, again, become more relevant now because Donald Trump made a couple appearances in that film. Most popular musicians at the time, there was a lot of rock and roll music and hip-hop. You had Nirvana, Kiss, Bon Jovi, Boyz II Men, and even Michael Jackson was still at the peak of his popularity. On TV, you had several shows that started or had started recently before then that were at the peak of their popularity, and a lot of them are still on TV to this day. And that includes Law & Order, America's Funniest Home Videos, MTV's The Real World premiered and is now in its 30th season, and another show that premiered that year that was just recently, within the past several years ended, was The Oprah Winfrey Show. That year in sports, there was a couple pretty significant events that happened. On the Super Bowl, you had Washington Redskins beat the Buffalo Bills. The World Series, Toronto defeated the Atlanta Braves. In the NBA, the Bulls defeated the Trailblazers with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, who are considered one of the greatest superstar duos of all time. And in NCAA basketball, Duke defeated the University of Michigan and the Fab Five. So their first year in back-to-back championship games, which they lost. So now in the month I was born, there's a couple other significant things that happened. First, on August 11th, the Mall of America in Minnesota opened, which was at the time the biggest shopping mall in the world, and to this day is still the biggest shopping mall in the United States. They even just added on to it recently. On August 24th, Hurricane Andrew made landfall in Florida as a Category 5 hurricane, responsible for the deaths of about 65 people, and at the time was the most costly natural disaster in U.S. history. It cost about $25 billion. It was only recently dethroned by Hurricane Katrina, which surpassed $105 billion itself. One of the last significant things to happen in August, actually on August 31st, Howard Stern premiered his first ever radio show in Ohio, and shortly after that it blew up and became wildly popular, and he's now on Sirius, so that's still going. So yeah, that's just a couple things that happened in the year of 1992 and my birth month, August. Thanks for listening.